beautiful, noisy helicopters. Good morning. This is Bill from Curious Cars on an inarguably beautiful Florida morning. I don't even know, it's got to be like 62 degrees here in Naples, and the weather has been pretty damn good for the last couple of months, which is such a welcome and lovely change from our miserable, hot, sticky, crappy summers that suck the life directly out of me. And I have unquestionably been enjoying the weather. It's also defied predictions because that El Nino bitch, or what, it was supposed to get warmer, an unusually warm winter after Christmas, and that has not panned out. Instead, I think we've got that polar vortex thing, which is just fantastic. And yeah, so I'm enjoying the weather. I'm not going to lie, it's great, and I'll ride it out and be happy for as long as it lasts. Again, I know I haven't done a video in a while. I don't have much of an excuse. I've been up and down to North Carolina a few times. I'm trying to get a place up there. I find it, I know car shopping is tough for people. Well, I had no idea that house shopping was 10 times worse, which it is. I must have looked at 30 different places in 4 or 5 different towns, and some of them are great, a lot of them will do, but none of them have checked every box off. I also determined that I'm old, fat, and I just don't have the ambition that I looked at a couple properties that had a lot of acreage. One of them had a walk-in gun closet. Perfect. I mean, that was almost a deal sealer right there. 8 acres, private gun range, ready to go. And I walked around the property, it had some elevation to it. It had some grass to mow. And I very quickly realized that in the shape that I'm in, 6 months living there, I'd either be fit like, Popeye, or I'd be dead. And the strong chance is that I would be dead, that I just don't have what it takes to maintain a property like that anymore. So, that's been a horrible realization for me. I could have done some videos. I've got plenty of cars. I've got that Oldsmobile Tornado still. I've got the Lincoln LSC. I've got a Chevy Avalanche. I've got a mid-2000s diesel Mercedes I want to do, an old W210 I want to do, a bunch of cars. I just haven't been able to put it together. I'm in this weird kind of, I don't know what it is. I just feel absolutely shackled by my own mental delusions. And anyway, what can I tell you? I'm doing this one now because I have to. I promised Penelope I would get this car up, but I will. I know I worked on that Lincoln yesterday. It's almost ready, and I will get back into doing some videos. If anyone's still even out there watching, God bless you if you are. Anyway, look, let's just get into it. So what I've got today is a 2017 Bentley Flying Spur W12. This car belongs to Penelope. If you've been watching the channel, Penelope is a friend of mine. She got very well-to-do, and here's rain. Wonderful. We had helicopters, and now I feel rain. I don't care. I'm doing it in the rain if I have to. Anyway, she got very wealthy developing feminine hygiene products and enhancements and, different little tidbits for vaginal recreation, and it's done well but that's the Sodom and Gomorrah world we're living in. Apparently that's the kind of crap that makes people money these days, so God bless her. And it's it was enough that she could buy this Bentley on a whim. This came from a friend of mine, a mutual friend, Ulf the German, the most sarcastic person I know. And let me tell you, man, there's just nothing. If you're not in the mood for German sarcasm, you're just not in the mood for it. And, that's what Ulf does to me. He comes in, he says terrible, sarcastic things. He talks about how successful YouTubers are, and I'm not. And, he just has this way of making me want to take my own life. But Anyway, he is a home watcher, one of many shady businesses he runs. Oh, they're not that shady, but he had some customers who wanted to trade in this Bentley on a new one, and the Bentley dealership, because they're thieves and robbers, they didn't offer him enough. So he came together with Penelope and ended up, negotiating a deal for her. So she bought it. But her collection is ridiculous and loaded with stuff, overflowing. I'm moderating it, so I'm trying to cut down the number of cars, and I've convinced her to sell this one. So I'm putting it up on Bring a Trailer for her, and it just needs to go away. But I thought, what the hell, as long as I'm doing all the photos and videos for that, I may as well knock one out for Curious Cars, the proper channel. And at least on the proper channel site, I can talk about my absolute disappointment and derision of what is a modern Bentley. And look, yeah, it's a great car. I mean, without question. I mean, it's an insane car, but it's not a Bentley. It's not what I think of as a... You go back to 1919, you've got Walter Owen Bentley, W.O. as he liked to be called. He was working before that for a company called DFP Cars out of France, but he always wanted to do his own stuff. That was just his thing. And, so in 1919, he had a chance... Put it to you this way. In 1913, at the DFP factory, he noticed an aluminum paperweight. And he thought, wow, this is great metal. What if we made pistons out of it? And he did. And the first Bentley pistons were in aluminum, and they were fitted to the Sopwith Camel, I think made famous by Snoopy, during the, World War I. They were used in the Sopwith Camel airplane engine. And it, gave him a chance to develop it and make some money. The very day that the armistice was, the Paris Peace Accords, or, whatever brutal thing ended up leading to World War II later. But that day he released or started or founded Bentley Motor Cars and started making these things. And right out of the bat, they did incredibly well. And part of that was because there was this group of rich, degenerate Englishmen that ended up being called the Bentley Boys. And they were very daring with the leather caps and, the mechanics hanging off the side and crap. And they ended up running these things at Le Mans. And they did very well. They won it like 4 years in a row in the, in the 20s. There was the Bentley 4.5 liter, the Speed 6. These are the cars that made Bentley famous and cemented their reputation, and they did exceptionally well. And to me, that's what Bentley is, But then you come around to the Great Depression, hit Bentley very, very hard. They ended up, going basically broke and were bought by Rolls-Royce, and then that continued on for many years, with them being sort of a subsidiary of Rolls-Royce, building very similar cars. But they did manage to make a name for themselves, and they were driven by, like, the hot rod English lords, If you were, like, the Lady Chatterley's lover type of English, not the poncy, posh, fat guy who liked getting driven around, but, the racy guy with leather driving gloves who, knocked up the chambermaids and, liked to drink. They would drive their own cars, and very often those cars that they drove were Bentleys. The Rollses were too stuffy, the Bentleys were fast, quick, and, considered more of a sporting car. So that's what their reputation was. But, that lasted a long time. They did well, but Rolls-Royce went bankrupt in 1971, and that's sort of I won't call it the decline of Bentley, but everything just went into weirdness. And, they went into state receivership. They changed hands again to Vickers, the airplane company, bought them. They owned them for quite a few years until they sold them to Volkswagen. Actually sold Rolls-Royce to Volkswagen, and basically the Bentley name. Bentleys were more or less just rebadged Rolls-Royce models at that point. 98 started the new era for Bentley. First of all, VW had a huge fight with BMW over the two names, because BMW had bought Rolls-Royce It's a very convoluted story that actually had to go to the German government to be sorted out. But the way it ended was VW Group ended up with Bentley and BMW ended up with Rolls, and they went their separate ways. But basically, you've taken these British icons and made them German. And yeah, they're still made in Crewe, England, which is the historical assembly line for Bentley. Most of them. I think the SUV, God help us, the SUV is made in Germany, but these cars are still made in England, but they're all German parts and German engineering. And yeah, there's probably some English craftsmen who do some of the leather stuff and whatnot, but it's just a very, very German car. That said, it's epic. I mean, and look, we'll just start getting into it. I'm going to get into the trunk. We're going to start there. So you press the B on the back and up it comes because, obviously at this level you're not going to exert the effort to lift your own trunk. You have a beautifully trimmed area here, quite large, big enough for even middle children. Usually you fit toddlers, babies in these things, no problem. You could probably fit 7, 8-year-olds in this thing. And quite frankly, they're going to be pretty comfortable. There's no retention net, but it's all padded. So if they bounce around a little bit, they're going to hit padded stuff and they're going to be fine. And frankly, it probably even keeps a pretty good climate in there. So they're not going to be too cold or too hot. It's got all this nicely trimmed, probably wool carpet. You get under here, you got a donut spare, which that is just so sad. You got some tools up there, and there it is. Anyway, that's that. You open up these side panels, you've got areas for battery. That's the little tiny battery. That's like the house battery, like they have in a motorhome. The reason for that is there's so many electronics on the car. They probably need 2 batteries just to make it work. Here's the starting battery relay box, fuses, that sort of thing. But all very nicely set up, and I see there's some sort of a pass-through there, so if you bring the Barrett with the long barrel, it'll probably be able to fit in the trunk, no problem. Might have to scur into the back seat, but it'll be fine. But it's a nice-sized trunk, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Now let's have a look under the hood and see what we got, because actually this is where it gets kind of special. So this is the W12 version. It's not a V, it's a W-shaped engine, which is why it's kind of wide here. 6 liters, twin turbocharged, 616 horsepower, 550 foot-pounds of torque, 8-speed automatic, all-wheel drive, air suspension, obviously computer, just very advanced stuff. It does 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. And this thing weighs over 5,000 pounds. It's massive. It's massive. But 0 to 60 in 4.3, and it will hit 200 miles an hour. So, you're talking about an incredible Q-ship here. As much as, I'm not a fan of modern cars, and I don't love people bastardizing the names of past glories, I can't argue that the thing isn't an engineering marvel. Something of this size, this build quality, able to turn in those acceleration and top speed numbers is pretty friggin' epic. Without question. Give him credit for that. It's got all kinds of little badging. There's your 6-liter badge, your little Bentley badge, and twin turbo. And, I'm going to go ahead and say that probably your average shade tree mechanic isn't going to work on this thing. It just doesn't have that kind of vibe to it. I remember when I sold Bentleys at Auto House a few years ago, guys would come in and they'd be, I'd have a Bentley for sale, or they'd be looking at a CLK or something, and they'd say, man, what a beautiful car, but oh boy, that's going to cost you in repairs at the deal. Well, no shit, man. The price of the car, the price of repairs is not a problem. It's a feature. It's a feature. Being able to drive this thing and maintain it is what separates you from the animals, at least according to the way Bentley and their dealerships think. People know you're going to drive this thing into Bentley in Naples or wherever, and they're going to charge you $8,200 to realign the ashtray, and you're just going to write the check. And when you're waiting for it to pick it up, you're going to get like croissants with cranberry walnut salad, on the table beside it. And that's the life. That's the whole point. If you're crying about repair costs, go drive a Camry, for Christ's sake. Go buy a Corolla. This is the separation. This is what makes you a master of the universe, is that you can waste your money on, maintaining and driving a car like that. So anyway, it was just one of the things that irked me when I worked there and talked to people, and that's why I pretty much had a nervous breakdown and had to stop doing it. You can see these big 20-inch rims, beautifully crafted with the bees in the center, and these manhole cover brakes behind them. Obviously it stops like a Formula One car. Lovely little swept bee on the fender with vents, and beautiful egg crate looking grill up front, and a lot of air intake area for that W12. So they did resist the urge to overladen it with chrome. There's no chrome around the front windshield, which is interesting. There's all kinds of little chrome panels here and there, but very minimal compared to what they could have done and compared to past. And I miss that, because I liked all that bling bling on the old Rollses, and I think they reached their peak in the 60s, 70s, and to some extent the 80s. Terrible cars, but God, I loved the way they looked. Anyway, I'm rambling on, so I'm going to pause it there for a minute. I'm going to get all my crap in the trunk, then we're going to hop in, have a look at what's in there, and go for a ride. Bear with me a moment. Alright, so let's have a look inside this thing. There you see the twice pipes at the back, oval shaped, nice. The little bumper sensor, backup sensor. And it's good. The people who owned this thing were like 107 years old, so it's good they had those little safety features. Lovely chrome trim around those LED tail lamps, the winged Bentley logo. Looks very nice. Flushed glass, nice swoopy roof line on it, and yeah, it's a good looking car. I can't argue. All right, in the back you've got just beautiful trimmed leather, dual power seats with memory and heating and cooling and massage. So your Canadians are going to be beyond chipper back here. They've got wool floor mats, and they can control with this little LED panel back here, the window screens. It's got them on the sides, it's got them on the back. They can do the climate, they can control the music and the entertainment from up front, see the car information, speed, that sort of thing, if your driver's getting a little too ahead of himself. You got lovely little pockets here for, you put a Tech 9 in there, you get any machine gun you want in that thing. That's, pistol anyway. Going to be very, very nice. You've got little picnic tables with, everything's metal. They really don't use plastic on the car, which is to their credit. As much as I complain about it, I'll give them credit for that. The hinges are metal, the trim is metal, everything is wood, leather, and metal on this car. Even the headliner is leather, and I don't know, this might be plastic. No, that's wood. So even the overhead console, very, very good about using. And you know what? It should be, because things like 250 grand, so there better not be plastic anywhere. Even these little hangers for your dry cleaning are metal, and yeah, fair enough. So like the trimmed speakers in chrome, I may as well look at them over here. Again, all this is metal. You got door locks, windows, quilted leather, two-tone leather up at the top, beautiful veneer on the side. It's it's what it should be for the money. And then the reclining is cool, so you can hop in there and recline. If you got Lady Chatterley in the back with you, you're going to be in good shape. You got a little center console, place to put your narcotics, little bag of crack or whatever it is you need to take. I don't know what do rich people take? Probably Coke, you know. I imagine that's, so they got that in there. Or a little, you know, glass of wine, whatever. It's all very nicely trimmed and very fancy. You've also got these soft closed doors, which, you know, look nice, work nice, great. Let's have a look up front. Same story, you know, beautiful supportive leather seats, quilted material, ventilated, hot, cool, massage, memory, you know, multiple adjustments for thigh support. Your headrest is power. Even the side of the seat is trimmed in leather with metal insert on the belt guide. You know, they just use very, very nice materials. The fit and finish is epic, and they have done a lovely job of not making the thing a piece of crap for the amount of money that you have to pay. Like the lightened aluminum pedals, of course, that harkens to Bentley's racing history. Let's hop in, fire it up. I'm gonna do that, foot on the brake. Yeah, nice, and that big W12 high torque comes to life. We've got comfort suspension setting. You've got a nice little display up here. A couple days ahead of ourselves. I don't know why it is set for that. Today is I want to say the 16th, Friday. So somebody has that set wrong. It's also, well, it is 9:36, but yeah, we're a little bit back to the future on that one. 20,000 miles. Like the instruments with the Bentley logo, of course it's true glass or crystal or whatever the hell they use, which is a nice material. Again, very, very high quality. Like the way the wood flows into the dash. You've got leather up top, two-tone contrasting to the leather beneath. Very, very nice. You got a brightening clock because, of course, that's what wealthy people need on their dashboard, is to, you know, have time by brightening. You've got a, you know, modern. Look, it's not the most modern. This car was started, I want to say 2006 or 7, and they've updated it over the years, of course. But you know, they still. Are, you know, it's still not designed for the most modern electronic standards, but it's good enough. It gives your, you know, your navigations. You've got your satellite radios, your FMs, your AMs. Probably somewhere in here we can get into tickety-tocks, and there's your tires and system setup. I didn't even look at that. I actually don't see a radio, media, voice command, video. You know, anyway, whatever you need. An incredibly expensive looking shift knob with the Bentley logo, nice little knurled edge around it. You know, proper, more leather trim here. Here's your climate control. Lovely, what you'd expect. You've got folding mirrors. There you go. This morning I smacked one on a garbage can on the street. Don't tell Penelope. It was fine, but yeah, you know, a little bit scary. You got your hot seats, your cool seats. You can change your, what do we got here? You can change it from comfort to sport. The very advanced traction and suspension control in this car. A few different degrees from, and I imagine they're all pretty friggin' comfy. You can run your screen on the back window from here. You can raise and lower the car from here. There's your hazards. It's got this incredibly fancy wood and leather trimmed sunglasses case that covers up the drink holders, because drink holders are obviously a bit uncouth, but you know, I'd be using them, but you know, maybe your fancier guys just leave their sunglasses in there. Nice little leather wrapped armrests with spot in there for more bags of drugs or switchblades, and little area down there to put a, you know, a small frame pistol or, you know, whatever, with a 12-volt outlet. No USB that I see anywhere, although it does have this iPod connector if you want to do that. And of course there's some books in there and a pretty big glove box. You got a self-dimming mirror. You got another overhead console here that runs the sunroof, which the shade is actually trimmed in leather, which is just hilarious to me. I mean, just everything is trimmed leather in this thing. Yeah, it works good. It should. Comes back up, and then you can remove the, where's the shade? Yeah, I can pull that back and just have the glass if you want. So, all very, very nice stuff. Garage door opener. Steering wheel, beautiful wood, trimmed with leather, you know, metal parts, Bentley logo, phone controls, volume controls. You got a full power steering column, which of course works with the memory seats and such, all very nice. Automatic headlamps over there. Yeah, you know, I mean, you sit behind this thing, you're a master of the universe in your, you know, $250,000 car. Your sun visors, cocaine mirrors, very nice. Trimmed in leather, lovely little oh shit handles, also trimmed in leather with metal on them, and you know, just everything you touch, everything you feel has a nice high quality feel to it. Let's see, we got AM. We don't want AM. We got satellite. Penelope's too cheap to hook it up to satellite. I have no idea what that is. KCI and JoJo. Farmatorium. Let's go for a spin. It's very quiet in here. Obviously, they've done a tremendous job of... Oh, and Peter's gate is broken again, so I'm going to have to pause it so I can close his gate up. He fights that thing endlessly. Endlessly. Alright, bear with. Alright, gate manually closed and locked, and away we go. Alright, so let's hammer it. Holy shit. Yeah, okay, well that is extremely fast. I mean, there is absolutely no question that this thing is way overpowered, particularly for the untalented people who are no question going to be driving it. So, man, did they go way overboard on the power and acceleration department. But of course, you know, I guess that's what they have to do. I mean, it gives you virtually supercar performance. I guess not. I mean, probably your modern supercar is 2 seconds to 60. This is 4.3, you know. It's screaming fast, way faster than I would ever need, particularly getting into the 200 mile an hour range on the top speed. So I don't know if that's something the Arabs use in Kuwait, or, you know, where you can get into those kind of speeds other than Sebring. But we're sure as hell not going to be doing that. I did a highway run earlier, but it was too crowded. I think I got it up to 100 or so, but, you know, then I ran into traffic. You know, the steering is... It's got a very nice effort. I'm sure it's all detached from any sort of real connection to the wheels, computer control, that sort of thing. Variable effort, I'm sure. You can feel that. And the suspension soaks up the bumps. It's incredibly smooth. The handling, I don't know. And we've got this guy in some kind of Toyota SUV who's just racing. Oh, a Subaru, must have been a lesbian. Yeah, and I tell you what, it has a really epic growl. You don't get a lot of it because you're sort of insulated from it, but you do get it. You do hear it. That W12 definitely has a throaty response. You also have little flippity-flip paddles if you're racy enough to, you know, bang your way through the gears that way, which I'm not going to get into because it's ridiculous. I mean, a giant Bentley. Why would I be flippity-flipping my way around like I'm, you know, at the racetrack? But so look, it does what it does. It does what it's supposed to do. I can dissect traffic like a scalpel in this thing. The power is incredible. The response, the torque, you know, it is a very, very potent car. I don't know if that's a Tesla up there. Obviously, that would be faster because of the cheating nature of electric cars. But otherwise, this is going to beat just about anything you pull up next to, you know. And, you know, one nice thing about it is, you know, the kid in the Mustang GT is going to see this Magnolia Bentley next to him, and he's not even really going to think about it. He's just going to, you know, do his thing. And if you race him, you're really going to freak him out. And you're going to be a lot faster than he is, unless he's got some kind of Shelby model. You're going to nail him. And you got all kinds of people racing me here. But, so look, so it encourages really negative behavior. You know, I really feel like being a traffic hooligan in this thing, which is very against the point of the car, I think, because you're supposed to be kind of regal and, you know, proper and, you know, looking around at the commoners on the street and, you know, being happy that your dad invented the Phillips head or great, whatever the hell it was. And, and you're supposed to be, but man, it does have the soul of a car you just want to be a traffic hooligan in. So anyway, look, there it is. I'm not going to keep rolling on. You know, the thing is what it is. It drives nice. It's, I'm sure, very befitting of its price tag, which is beyond epic. You know, it's probably less or more than half of what I'm going to spend on a house when I do find one. So this is definitely more Penelope's thing than mine. It's out of my league by far. But would I own it? You know, if it was given to me? Yeah, sure. You know, would I buy it? Would I go seek it out? No, not really. You know, there's just other stuff I'd want to have. This would be like an 8th car for me if I won the lottery. But God, it does have some beef, I will say that. Yeah, all right, I'm going to get a ticket. Anyway, thank you very much for having a look. I'm not going to make phony promises about videos or, you know, what. I mean, I've got them coming, you know. Are they going to be next week? I hope so. Am I sure of it? No, but I've got plenty of cars to do, some fun stuff, some stuff that I like, and hopefully I can get it going soon. Hopefully the weather holds, and I can get the ball rolling. I'm just having a hell of a time doing that, but what can I tell you? We'll work on it. Thank you very much for having a look. Really, really appreciate it, and we will see you with the next one. Take care.